It was a hot summer afternoon, July 30th, 1975. Jimmy Hoffa, one of the most powerful men in America, stepped into a car outside the Machu's Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. He was never seen again. What happened next has become one of the greatest mysteries in American history, a story of power, betrayal, and a disappearance that has baffled investigators for nearly 50 years. James Riddle Hoffa was a man who rose from nothing to become a titan of the labor movement. He fought for the working class, but his methods were controversial, and his alliances were dangerous. By the time he vanished, Hoffa had made powerful enemies, enemies who may have wanted him gone for good. Today, we'll dive into the life, the legacy, and the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. We'll explore the theories, the investigations, and the enduring mystery that continues to captivate us. This is the story of Jimmy Hoffa, the man who vanished. James Riddle Hoffa was born on February 14th, 1913, in Brazil, Indiana. His father, John Hoffa, was a coal miner who died when Jimmy was just 7 years old. His mother, Viola, was left to raise 4 children alone in the midst of the Great Depression. It was a tough upbringing, but it instilled in Hoffa a fierce determination to fight for the underdog. By the age of 14, Hoffa was already working to support his family. He dropped out of school and took on odd jobs, from delivering groceries to working in a factory. It was during this time that he first encountered the harsh realities of labor exploitation, an experience that would shape his future. In the 1930s, Hoffa found his calling in the labor movement. He joined the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, a union representing truck drivers and warehouse workers, and quickly rose through the ranks. Hoffa was a natural leader, charismatic, tough, and unafraid to take on powerful corporations. But his rise to power was not without controversy. Hoffa's success was built on a web of alliances, some legal, others less so. He formed close ties with organized crime figures, using their muscle to strengthen the Teamsters and secure his own position. These connections would eventually lead to his downfall, and many believe his disappearance. On the morning of July 30th, 1975, Jimmy Hoffa was a man on a mission. He had spent years trying to regain control of the Teamsters Union, and he believed that a meeting that day would bring him one step closer to his goal. But the meeting would never happen. Hoffa arrived at the Machu's Red Fox restaurant around 2 p.m. He was expecting to meet 2 men, Anthony Giacalone, a Detroit mobster, and Anthony Provenzano, a New Jersey Teamster boss with whom Hoffa had a bitter rivalry. But neither man showed up. Witnesses reported seeing Hoffa pacing in the parking lot, growing increasingly frustrated. Then, around 2:45 p.m., a maroon car pulled up. Hoffa got inside, and the car drove away. It was the last time anyone saw Jimmy Hoffa alive. Over the years, countless theories have emerged about what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. Some point to the Mafia, others to personal vendettas, and some to even darker possibilities. Let's explore the most compelling theories. Theory number 1, the mob connection. Hoffa's ties to organized crime were well documented. He had made powerful enemies, and many believe that his disappearance was a mob hit, a way to silence him once and for all. Anthony Provenzano, known as Tony Pro, was a New Jersey Teamster boss with whom Hoffa had a bitter feud. Anthony Giacalone, a Detroit mobster, was also supposed to meet Hoffa that day. Neither man showed up, leading many to believe they were involved in his disappearance. Theory number 2, the stadium. One of the most enduring urban legends is that Hoffa's body was buried beneath the end zone of Giant Stadium in New Jersey. The theory gained traction because of Provenzano's ties to the area, but extensive searches have turned up nothing. Theory number 3, the fat renderer. Another gruesome theory suggests that Hoffa's body was ground up and disposed of in a fat rendering plant owned by a mob associate. This method of body disposal was allegedly used by organized crime to eliminate evidence. Theory number 4, the landfill. In 2013, the FBI received a tip that Hoffa's body might be buried in a Michigan landfill. After an extensive search, no remains were found, but the theory remains popular. Theory number 5. Some believe that Hoffa's body was transported to Florida and hidden in a remote swamp, making it nearly impossible to recover. Do tell us in the comments which one you think might be true. The FBI launched one of the largest manhunts in history to find Jimmy Hoffa. Despite decades of investigations, searches, and countless leads, no trace of Hoffa has ever been found. A retired FBI agent said, "We followed every lead, no matter how small. But the Mafia's code of silence made it nearly impossible to get the answers we needed." Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance left a void in the labor movement. The Teamsters Union, once a powerhouse, began to decline. But Hoffa's legacy lives on, not just in the labor movement, but in the countless books, movies, and TV shows that have tried to unravel the mystery of his disappearance. Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance remains one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Was it the Mafia, a personal vendetta, or something even darker? We may never know the truth. But one thing is certain. The story of Jimmy Hoffa continues to captivate us, reminding us of the power and the peril of ambition. Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance didn't just leave a void in the labor movement. It devastated his family. His wife, Josephine, and their 2 children, Barbara and James P. Hoffa, were left to grapple with the uncertainty of his fate and the relentless media attention. A family historian said, "Josephine Hoffa never gave up hope that her husband would return. She spent years searching for answers, even as the media circus around the case grew increasingly intrusive." The Hoffa family became a symbol of the human cost of this enduring mystery. Jimmy's son, James P. Hoffa, followed in his father's footsteps, eventually becoming president of the Teamsters Union. But the shadow of his father's disappearance loomed large over his career, shaping his approach to leadership and his relationship with the union. Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance marked a turning point for the Teamsters Union. Once a powerhouse of the labor movement, the union faced a crisis of leadership and credibility in the wake of Hoffa's vanishing. A labor historian states that after Hoffa's disappearance, the Teamsters Union became synonymous with corruption and organized crime. The federal government stepped in, placing the union under trusteeship and implementing reforms to root out mob influence. In 1989, the Teamsters held their first direct election for president, a landmark moment in the union's history. While the reforms helped restore some credibility, the legacy of Hoffa's era continues to haunt the union to this day. Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance wasn't just a news story. It was a media sensation. From the moment he vanished, the case dominated headlines, fueled by a mix of fascination and fear. The Hoffa case was one of the first true media circuses of the modern era. It had everything: power, crime, mystery, and a larger-than-life figure at its center. The media's obsession with the case shaped how future disappearances and crimes were covered. Over the years, the Hoffa case has inspired countless conspiracy theories and amateur investigations. From self-proclaimed experts to Hollywood filmmakers, the mystery of Hoffa's disappearance has become a cultural touchstone. Jimmy Hoffa's story has transcended the realm of true crime, becoming a staple of popular culture. From books to movies to TV shows, Hoffa's life and disappearance have been reimagined and retold countless times. Films like Hoffa, starring Jack Nicholson, and The Irishman, directed by Martin Scorsese, have brought Hoffa's story to new generations. These portrayals often blur the line between fact and fiction, adding to the mystique of the man and his disappearance. Beyond Hollywood, Hoffa's story has been the subject of countless documentaries, podcasts, and books. Each retelling offers a new perspective on the case, keeping the mystery alive in the public imagination. Nearly 50 years after his disappearance, the mystery of Jimmy Hoffa continues to captivate us. But why does this case still matter? What is it about Hoffa's story that resonates so deeply with people? Hoffa's disappearance taps into our deepest fears and fascinations. It's a story of power, betrayal, and the unknown, a reminder that even the most powerful among us can vanish without a trace. Beyond the mystery, Hoffa's story is a reminder of the struggles and sacrifices of the labor movement. His fight for workers' rights and his controversial methods continue to spark debate about the role of unions in society. Despite decades of investigations, the case of Jimmy Hoffa remains unsolved. But could advances in technology and forensic science finally provide the answers we've been searching for? Modern techniques like DNA analysis and ground-penetrating radar have revolutionized cold cases. While the Hoffa case presents unique challenges, there's always hope that new evidence could come to light. In recent years, the FBI has conducted new searches based on tips and leads. While no remains have been found, the search for Hoffa continues, driven by the belief that the truth is still out there. Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance remains one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Was it the Mafia? A personal vendetta? What do you think happened to Jimmy Hoffa? Share your theories in the comments below, and keep watching Something Creepy.